Now next concept is New Economic Policy 1991. Government of India announced new industrial policy in July 1991. This policy provided new initiatives for private sector. That means much efforts were given on the importance of private sector. An effort was made to remove hurdles in the path of development, and the second point was taking the economy to the development. This policy was announced by P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1991. The main objective of this policy was giving new thrust to market orientation, then bringing down the rate of inflation, higher economic growth. These were the main objectives of the new economic policy. Features of new economic policy 1991. In this you have to simply write down the points of features, because explanation we will be doing under the other heads also. The features of new economic policy was abolition of Indian industrial licensing, limited role for public sector, liberalization of foreign investment, liberalized foreign trade, technology upgradation, setting up of FIPB means Foreign Investment Promotion Board, and incentives for small scale sector. We are going to discuss explanation of all these points under the headings under the LPG model of new economic policy. So let's start. Major changes in new economic policy, or the LPG model of new economic policy. What was the new LPG model of new economic policy? LPG. L means liberalization, P means privatization, G means globalization. I repeat, it was liberalization, privatization, globalization. So let's start with liberalization. Liberalization is the process of freeing the economy from license system and other regulation. That means removing certain controls from the economy and making them license free. In the initial years before 1991, industries need to take license for manufacturing their products from government. But after the economic policy 1991, only few products were there for which the companies need to take license. Rest all were made license free. That was the meaning of liberalization. The main features of liberalization were: first, abolition of license except in few industries. This I have told you, only few industries were required to take license, and these industries included liquor industry, cigarette industry, defense equipment industry, explosive manufacturing industries, drug manufacturing industries, and the hazardous chemical manufacturing industries. So second was no restriction on expansion or contraction of business. Now business houses can expand or contract their business according to their capabilities. There is no restriction on expansion and contraction of business. Reduction of tax rate and lifting unnecessary controls. Tax rates were reduced and unnecessary controls were lifted. Liberalization in export and import. Certain permissions were given in free permissions were given in import as well as export also. Freedom was given in import and export also. Freedom in fixing prices. Companies could fix the prices easily for their product, but they cannot make misuse of this power. Simplification of procedure for attracting foreign capital. Foreign capital को attract करने के लिए बच्चे हमने अपना investment procedure बहुत ही simple बना दिया, so that no other country could hesitate in investing in our country. This was all about liberalization. The second point is privatization. Privatization means induction of private ownership in public owned enterprises. That means firstly the enterprises which were public enterprises, government enterprises, उन enterprises में introduction of private ownership. Public enterprises से उनको government enterprises से private enterprises बनाना. That was all about privatization. And the main features were disinvestment of public sector. That means जहाँ पे भी public sector ने government ने money invest की हुई थी, वहाँ से उनको disinvest कर दिया गया. उनके shares को public sector से private sector में transfer कर दिया गया. Setting up of BIFR, that means Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction. What was the point behind this? This board was set up to take care of sick units of public sector. If that sick unit can survive or revive its position, then they have to work according to that. Otherwise, they were supposed to close such units. Then dilution of stake of the government. This means if in any company private sector owns more than 51% shares, then the result is transfer of ownership and management to the private sector. अगर किसी भी कंपनी में प्राइवेट सेक्टर की ओनरशिप 51% से ज़्यादा है शेयर होल्डिंग, दैट मीन्स द कंपनीज ओनरशिप एंड मैनेजमेंट विल बी ट्रांसफर टू द private sector directly. That is privatization. Next is globalization. Globalization means integrating the economy of a country with the world economy. मतलब आपने अपनी कंट्री की इकोनॉमी को पूरे वर्ल्ड की इकोनॉमी के साथ आपने integrate करना है. So the government was following strict policy. In the initial years there was strict policy regarding foreign investments, regarding import, export, but after the new economic policy 1991 many reforms were made for this also. The various measures taken in globalization were import liberalization. First of all, import was liberalized. Now our country can import the capital goods from the other countries. Second was Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FERA, FERA. FERA was replaced by FEMA, FEMA. FEMA is Foreign Exchange Management Act. The difference was FERA में we were controlling the foreign investment. That means we were trying कि foreign investment should not come much in our country. But in FEMA we invited the foreign investment and we tried to manage it appropriately. So FERA was replaced by FEMA. Rationalization of tariff structure. Tariff structure was planned and it was made rationalized. Abolition of export duty completely. Export duty we completely abolished, and reduction of import duty. Somehow we reduce the import duty. The main reason of reduction in import duty was we should try to manufacture the products in our country only. Fine. So this was the LPG model of new economic policy. Then is बच्चे impact of changes in economic policy on business. How these changes affected our business. What was the impact of these changes on business, or what is the effect of liberalization and globalization? The first is increasing competition, and this is a very important topic. So first is increasing competition. After the new economic policy, the companies were not only facing competition from the internal units only, that means from the local units only. Now they are facing competition from the foreign companies also, from MNCs also. Now they are facing more competition, and only those companies can survive in the market which are able to face the competition, which are adopting latest technology, which are having large number of resources in with them. Only those companies can survive in the market. Otherwise many companies need to leave the market. More demanding customers. Prior to 1991, बच्चे, there was shortage of producers. As producer, there was shortage of producers. That means only limited companies were there, limited producers were there. So that means production was also short. जब लिमिटेड प्रोड्यूसर्स थे तो ऑब्वियसली हम यूनिट्स भी लिमिटेड बना रहे थे. कस्टमर वॉज नॉट हैविंग द चॉइस. द मार्केट वॉज प्रोड्यूसर ओरिएंटेड. वॉट एवर प्रोड्यूसर हैज़ प्रोड्यूस दैट वी नीड टू सेल इन द मार्केट. बट नाउ ड्यू टू द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ न्यू इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी, द मार्केट हैज़ बिकम कस्टमर ओरिएंटेड. देखो बहुत सारा कॉम्पिटिशन मार्केट में आ गया, राइट. उसके बाद प्रोड्यूसर्स भी बढ़ गए. नॉट ओनली द लोकल प्रोड्यूसर्स, डोमेस्टिक प्रोड्यूसर्स, बट वी आर हैविंग द international producers with us also. Now customer is having the wider choice. It's not necessary customer will buy the product from us only. Now the market has become customer oriented. That means producers will produce what customer need or want. कस्टमर को जो चाहिए, पहले मार्केट सर्वे होगा, देन कस्टमर की डिमांड्स के अकॉर्डिंगली प्रोडक्ट्स विल बी मैन्युफैक्चर्ड. दिस इज मोर डिमांडिंग customer. Next is rapidly changing technological environment. Before 1991, before the new economic policy, there was small internal competition only, so technological development was not much there. But after the new economic policy, you know, international companies were much better in technological field. So many technologies came to our country also. Rapidly changing technological environment means only those companies could be able to survive, those who have adopted the changed technological environment. Then necessity for change. Prior to 1991, business houses were following a stable policy for a long period. That means policies were not changed frequently. But now after the 1991, after the new economic policy 1991, there was the time has been changed. We are again and again studying that business environment is constantly changing. The changes take place very frequently, and because of those changes we need to change our plans, we need to change our policies accordingly. So there is a necessity to change if you really want to survive in the market. Need for developing human resources. Now we cannot go for a common simple human resources. We need to train the human resources in detail, in proper way. We need to develop their skills properly. अगर आपका human resource trained होगा, then only you will be able to survive in the market. Then is market orientation. Market orientation refers that ki firstly we were following the selling concept. That means produce first, then go to the market and sell. This was the selling concept. But later on, after the policy, we were following the market concept. Market concept refers to that: do the market survey, identify the needs and requirement of customer, and produce accordingly, and then sell. Fine. So this was marketing concept. This market orientation means from selling concept we have shifted to marketing concept. Loss of budgetary support to public sector. Now government has refused for giving any support to public sector. If public sector really wanted to grow, they have to grow of their own. They have to arrange their resources of their own. Then is export a matter of survival, and this was most important because it was a global competition. There was a global competition in the market, and if the companies really want to survive in the market, they need to export their products also. We should not only focus on importing. If we really want to survive in the market, we should export our products so that we can earn much of the foreign exchange, so that we can develop much in the economy. So this was all about impact of changes in economic policy on business. I am repeating the points. The points were increasing competition, more demanding customers, rapidly changing technological environment, necessity for change, need for developing human resources, market orientation, loss of budgetary support to public sector, and export a matter of survival. Once again, bache, please do not change the headings. You can write the explanation of your own, but try to give heading as it is only, right?